I'll keep that in mind. Thank you. Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. As Prabhu said, this is the Bhagavad Gita class, so we're very delighted to have you all here. And before we begin, we can have some kirtan, and you can repeat after me. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Shri Radhe. Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Patita Pavana Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Bhagavan ki Jai. Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ji ki Jai. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Welcome once again, everyone. Today we are going to read from the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita on Karma Yoga, and we'd be reading and discussing and unpacking and maybe taking back home whatever little snippets of love realization for Krishna back home. Before we do that, it's good to invoke the blessings and presence of our spiritual master who has inspired us onto the journey towards the divinity, to kind of remember and be grateful to them. So we'll do that with a small prayer, and you can repeat after me or sing along with me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So as we said, it's the verse 27 from the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Prakrite kriyamanani guna karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimuratma kartahamiti manyate. I'll say that once again. Prakarte kriyamanani guna karmani sarvashah ahankara vimudatma karta hamiti manyate. Transliteration. Prakarte of material nature. Kriyamanani being done. Guna by the modes. Karmani activities. Sarvashaha all kinds of. Ahankara vimura bewildered by false ego. Atma the spirit soul. Karta doer. Aham I. Iti thus. Manyate he thinks. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature. Purport. Two persons, one in Krishna consciousness and the other in material consciousness, working on the same level, may appear to be working on the same platform, but there is a wide gulf of difference in their respective positions. The person in material consciousness is convinced by false ego that he is the doer of everything. He does not know that the mechanism of the body is produced by material nature, which works under the supervision of the Supreme Lord. The materialistic person has no knowledge that ultimately he is under the control of Krishna. The person in false ego takes all credit for doing everything independently, and that is the symptom of his nations. He does not know that this gross and subtle body is the creation of material nature under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and as such, his bodily and mental activities should be engaged in the service of Krishna in Krishna consciousness. The ignorant man forgets that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is known as Rishikesha, or the master of the senses of the material body. For due to his long misuse of the senses in sense gratification, he is factually bewildered by the false ego, which makes him forget his eternal relationship with Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, what does this verse say to us? We think that we are really the doers, and what triggers that thought process is our false ego. But it's a thing to wonder, where does this false ego come from? Why in first place are we thinking that we are the doers? Because we have forgotten about our relationship with Krishna. That's actually the problem, and that's what that forgetfulness leads to: bewilderment, confusion about our identity. So what's the identity of the soul? That it's a part and parcel of Krishna. Right? And who is Krishna? The God, Satchidanand, who is always, eternally in Anand, in joy. And this is why, as soul and as part and parcel of Krishna, we are constantly hankering for Anand. But we have forgotten, where does it lie? So, we are gifted with the senses, and those senses, because of our false ego, we employ that, as Prabhupada said in the purport, in our own sense gratification. Whereas, what should be the use of those senses? What should be the use? Serving Krishna. Rather, we are interested in serving ourselves. And that is what causes the false ego, and that is what causes us to think that we are the doers. But it's not that really easy to understand and live every day. But we have the guidance of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. We have the guidance. Krishna knows that, okay, yes, we know that we are part and parcel of Krishna. But is Krishna going to leave you alone? No. I'm a mother, will I leave my child alone? He's just 4 years old. I mean, if you're thinking if he's 20, why can't you? Yeah. No. So how can we expect that Krishna would let us be all by ourselves in Kali Yuga? Imagine. which is, I'm sure, with all the scrolling right at our tips, we know what Kali Yuga means, right? So Krishna is not leaving us alone. He is there in our hearts as the form of Paramatma, always available. And at the same time, Krishna knows we'll need guidance. So he gifts us with Guru, spiritual master, Sadhu, saintly personalities whose association we should regularly seek, and Shastra, scriptures. Scripture is what prompts Arjun as well to take up that slipping Gandiv again. What's happening to Arjun? Let's think about it. In the first chapter, you would really be surprised to know, by the way, that Krishna has not uttered even one word. We, thinking we are the doers, we are so always on the edge to give advice. But what is Krishna doing? He meets the people where they are in their journey. He's patiently listening to Arjun. What he has to say, he's letting him vent out. And in his vent out, what is Arjun doing? What is he negotiating with? A dilemma. He's thinking, it's better that I go to a forest. And better than killing my own relatives. That's going to be so much better. Now, Krishna is just listening all of that, and as we discuss through this verse more and more, we will circle back to this same dilemma of Arjun in the end and see what Arjun should do and what we can learn from Arjun. So, just to kind of go over Prabhupada's purport again, what does it say? The actions, they belong rather to the gunas, right? The modes of material nature. Does anyone know? Mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Right? These are the drivers. And then this delusion comes from the ahankar. So it is this misidentification, thinking that I'm doing everything, that causes all of that anxiety. Now we can trace it back to Arjun's anxiety. Arjun's thinking, I'm killing. Right? And this is what causes him the anxiety. But what does Arjun do? Arjun pauses for the Guru's instruction. Arjun pauses. First, as a friend, he vents out what's going on in his heart. And then he pauses and says, Karpanya dosha pahat svabhava prichhami tvam dharm samucheta yat shreya shanishchitam bruhi tanme shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. What does Arjun say? That now I am your disciple and you're my guru. And now you say and I'll follow. When two friends are talking to each other, they may say, this is my point of view. The other might say, well, I slightly differ or I agree with your point of view. And this can go on between friends. Completely okay, yeah. But when you're taking the position of a disciple and you're honoring your spiritual master and you're seeking his guidance, then there cannot be any room for any deviation from the guidance of the Guru. His Holiness Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj says, the Guru's instructions, they can be delayed, but they cannot be denied. And that has been exemplary from the life of Srila Prabhupada himself. At the age of 70, he is traveling to America just to give out this scripture to us so we can benefit and find out the purpose and meaning of our life and dedicate our senses in the service of Krishna. Chant the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, Srila Prabhupada is giving that to us. And that's because his spiritual master, it was his desire. And when he communicated this desire, it wasn't that immediately Srila Prabhupada was able to execute that, but he was hankering to execute the guidance, the order of his spiritual master. So the instruction was a bit delayed, but never denied. And look at the flowers of that execution of the spiritual master's order. Right? So that can bring us to the question, if we are not really the doers, if it is really the modes of nature which is guiding the action, why should we bother to act then? You can say, well, I'm not the doer, might as well just go to the jungle as Arjun is suggesting. Might as well just not do anything because I'm not the doer, better not to do anything. Or the other extreme of it could be, well, I have done everything. That sort of credit taking can also be there. So, what really Krishna wants then? Any guesses? If the modes of nature are driving the action, and if we are not really the doers, then what is it? Why bother to act? So it's not like that. You do get to act, but you're not the only doer. Your soul is not the only doer. Consider an example. There's a construction engineer who has a plan for a massive building, and he's got an immense amount of research he has done, and he immaculately plans every nook and corner of that building. It's kind of forward-looking in terms of how futuristic this building can be. It's backward-looking because he knows what kind of land it is, what kind of building it is, right? What is it that it can really withstand in terms of weather conditions and all of that. So, is that enough for that building to be made then? That sort of amazing plan, is that enough? No. He needs more people. He needs resources. More people to build the building. More people, more expertise from different spheres. And then more resources. And where are those resources coming from? The nature. So if you trace the action, okay, there was the construction engineer, but then he also needed some more people to get that executed, that plan executed. Then there were more laborers who were collecting all of that resources from the nature. Then it was the nature which provided all of that. So it was not just that engineer who was executing it. That's the kind of position we have. We think we are doing everything. No. We're just playing our part. One part. It's planned everything. What does Krishna say to Arjun? Whether you choose to kill these people or not, they are dead. They're already dead. Now, it's upon you. Krishna never forces. Yeah? In the end, Krishna says, do what you like, Arjun. But then, Krishna presents Arjun with the opportunity to be nimitta matra bhavya sabyasachi, that you can be a nimitta matram, that you can be an instrument in that scheme of things. And who wouldn't want to take up that opportunity to be in the execution of Krishna's plan? Who all are eager to take up that opportunity? Of course. Why would we let go of any opportunity? And we have the example of Lord Hanuman taking up every opportunity to execute Lord Ram's desires. There is one very interesting verse in Ramayana. When Hanuman had crossed over the ocean, he was applauded by all the Vanar army. He was applauded by Sugriv. Hanuman, you are so exalted. Nobody could have thought of what you have accomplished. What does Lord Hanuman say? Naham karta hari shrestha bhagavan rama tu karya karta. I am not the doer, Lord Ram is the true doer of this work. So, it's his consciousness is entirely rooted into what has to be done for Lord Ram. I mean, there was one very interesting conversation I was having with one devotee a long time ago, and the remnants of that conversation have really stayed with me. And that devotee said, there's a difference in the anger of a devotee and a non-devotee. What's that difference? What's that difference? The difference is, we can see from the example of Lord Hanuman, when he goes to Lanka, he burns it. If we were in Hanuman's place, for instance, let's imagine ourselves there in Lanka and having that conversation which Hanuman was having with Ravan. And Ravan was insulting him for being, you're a monkey and all of that, yeah? If we were in Hanuman's place, we would have taken it really personally. That insult would have kind of shot through our hearts. I'm a monkey. And this is why we would also have tried to burn the Lanka. We would have done the same. But what makes the difference between the act of we burning Lanka as opposed to what? And with what consciousness Hanuman has burned the Lanka? Hanuman has not taken it personally. He has done it in the service of, he has used his powers for the service of Lord Sri Ram. Yeah, so that was quite interesting. And what are we then supposed to do? Now, knowing that we are not just the doer, we are one of the doers. So, what does Krishna want us to do want us to do with that knowledge, really? Krishna doesn't want us to suppress that. If we have a certain tendency, as we said, that's because of the modes of material nature. So it is really the gunas, the modes of material nature at shift for Arjun when he's feeling anxious at the beginning of the war. Similarly, we also have our own personalities, and we can use our personality in the service of Krishna. This is why Krishna never says, Arjun, go to jungle and think about me. He says, do what you're supposed to do as a Kshatriya. Because as a Kshatriya, if he goes to the jungle, his mind is going to be at the battlefield. So there's no point. So it's really about the consciousness that we can offer to Krishna. So Krishna wants us not to suppress that, but rather use that in the service of himself and his devotees. Then, Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, he gives a very interesting example. He substantiates this. He says that, consider a woodcutter and there's an axe. On its own, can the axe cut the tree? No. We need a thinking mind to desire that. Now that's another interesting point. Not only are we just the doer, I mean, we are not the only doer. I have to kind of reiterate that again and again. So we just understood that we are not just the doers. We are one of the many doers which Krishna has already planned, right? And then we have the desire. So now this desire, this is facilitated by the material nature. And all of this is happening under the sanction of Krishna. So whatever we desire, Krishna will give the facilities for us to manifest that desire. Now it really depends upon us. What is it? What kind of desire do we really have? Is it a desire to serve Krishna, or is it a desire to serve our own senses? So that is what makes the difference. And hence, Krishna doesn't want us to repress our nature. He wants that we redirect our nature, we direct our propensities, because we cannot escape how we are built. If Arjun is negotiating the problem of the shifting of the gunas, the modes of material nature, mode of goodness, passion and ignorance in the beginning, if Arjun is thinking, oh, let me go to the forest, this is not for me, it's not good, it's not the pious thing to do, it's not the best thing to do. And remember, Arjun is, Krishna himself has said, Sabyasachi, the best of the archers, the one who has conquered the sleep. Right? Such an exalted mind can find itself in the midst of such a great dilemma and inaction. Then what to speak of ourselves? And hence through Arjun, Krishna is giving us the example of what to do. Arjun as a Kshatriya is not supposed to leave the battlefield but fight it, thinking of Krishna. Hence we are not supposed to escape our personalities. Rather use our personality as Hanuman did for Lord Ram. But where does it really, in our day-to-day lives, where do we see this problem occurring? If we kind of take a pause and think of an example. Once upon a time, there was this archer. It was really the most amazing archers in a certain kingdom. Everyone would come to just watch his show. And he was so amazing that he would be able to shoot in the dark. He doesn't even need any light. So that was the level of his archery skills. And once he was told that there is the king who wants to personally come visit and see him do the archery. Now when the king comes, this archer who would flawlessly and in a flow it was his second nature. He would just shoot. And every time, bullseye. He would do that every time. But when the king was watching him, this archer started to become conscious of, well, is my hand okay? Am I looking in the right direction? So he became so conscious. And what was his nature? He was forgetting that. Rather, he was thinking, I am the doer. So what was naturally even his talent, it was slipping off his hands, just like Arjun. And then the mentor of this archer, he said, well, do you remember that this is your nature? You're meant to do this. You've been doing this for years. When he was reminded like that, and again, that reiterates that we need devotees, we need spiritual master to remind us of our relationship with Krishna. We need Guru, Sadhu and Shastra to be reminded of our relationship with Krishna. Right? And even Hanuman, before crossing the ocean, he had forgotten his powers. And it was again a devotee who had reminded, my apologies, I can't remember the name. Sorry? Jambavan, thank you. Jambavan had reminded him of his powers. So we need that reminder. So it's always a good idea to keep that person in our life. Shri Radha Gokulananda Bhagwan ki jai. So this example shows us that why Arjun is also experiencing that psychological collapse. And there's one more pastime in the Bhagavatam that interestingly points out to this verse in one sense. So this is about the Brahma Vimohan Leela. How many of us know about Brahma Vimohan Leela? Brahma Vimohan Leela. So, okay, that's good. Nobody knows. That's a very good. I don't know either. Let's resume that. I like your t-shirt. It says keep learning. So with that spirit, I'll try to retell it the pastime. In Brahma Vimohan Leela, what happens is Brahma, who is the creator of the universe, when there was too much unrighteousness prevailing, he had prayed actually to Vishnu to appear, and that's how then Krishna appeared, right? And it was Brahma, remember, who had prayed to Krishna. But as we have already discussed before, we have a problem of forgetting. So Brahma forgot that he had prayed to Krishna, now Krishna has appeared, And then when Brahma heard about the glories of the pastimes of Krishna, that there is a boy in Vrindavan who is doing these miraculous things, and everyone is in awe of this little boy, Brahma was a little bewildered. He was thinking, how come there can be someone? This cannot be a god. It's just merely a boy. How can he perform such exalted pastimes? Just not possible. No, not ready to believe. And then Brahma, to prove that, what he does is he kidnaps Krishna's friends and cows. And of course, Krishna knows that it's Brahma's doing. What Krishna does is, Krishna expands himself. And as many friends as were stolen by Brahma, he manifests himself in exact shape, form, appearance, as well as the cows and calves. Right? Now, all of these boys and calves, which were essentially Krishna, they head back to Vrindavan. Nobody realizes that their sons were lost. Nobody in Vrindavan comes to realize that their cows and calves are stolen. In fact, they experience love which superseded their love for children that they were experiencing until that day. Srila Prabhupada says, if you want to experience the spiritual love, in the material world, the kind of love that comes closest to the spiritual love is the love of a mother. So you can imagine how doting these mothers would be for their children, and they're not sensing that these are not their children. This is Krishna. And rather they are deriving even more joy. The cows, they are not sensing that it's not their calves. Rather they are so wanting to feed their calves even more. Right? And then, interestingly, in Brahma's world, my memory of numbers is not up to the mark. It's Kali Yuga memory, so forgive me for that. 1 second or some seconds or some minute of Brahma's world is many years here. So many years pass, and it's only then that Brahma realizes that, well, all these boys are with me. What's going on in Vrindavan? Let me go check. And by this time, all of them must be anxious to know what happened to their boys and all of that. He was anticipating that sort of a scene in Vrindavan. On the contrary, what he finds out is exactly those same boys and calves were there playing and frolicking around in Vrindavan. Brahma is bewildered even more. And that's when he realizes the mistake he has committed. The mistake we do every day in our lives, thinking we are the doer. Even the creator of the universe, Lord Brahma, is thinking, I am the doer. And he realizes that mistake, and that's when Krishna gives darshan, and he apologizes. Right? And what does he say? Krishna, Stu Bhagavan Swayam Sarva Karana Karanam. You are the cause of all the causes. Govindam Adipurusham Tam Ham Bhajami. Right? So, this is how, so what does this Leela tell us? That if this can happen to Brahma, that he can be bewildered, then what about us? So what's the best practice that's recommended for us then? Arjun then is also curious to know. Arjun says, it's easier to control the wind than to control the mind. So Arjun is asking all of these questions really for us. Right? And what does Krishna say to that? Krishna says, when that happens, you bring it back to me. Interestingly, Krishna has not said, if that happens. Because if would have implied, it may or may not happen. It may happen to certain individuals and may not happen with other individuals. Or it may happen sometimes and other times it may not happen. Krishna doesn't say if. Krishna says, when that happens. Because Krishna knows this is bound to happen. Why? Because we are controlled by the modes of material nature which we have discussed in this verse. the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance, we are also experiencing that psychological collapse in Kali Yuga. But what's the practice for us as well? To bring it back to the remembrance of Krishna, the remembrance of our relationship with Krishna, that we are his part and parcel, we are his eternal servants. And that is what will rekindle that love we are hankering for, we are looking for, because he is Satchidanand. So this is why naturally, if we are, see, His Grace Amarendra Prabhu gives a very nice example in this regard. He says, we are children of a lion. Do you know that? We are children of Narsingadev. But due to forgetfulness, we're thinking we're sometimes some other animal, hankering for things not meant for us. Consider an example. There's a student who was given a question paper, multiple choice. How many of us like multiple choice questions? I like them when they're not with a negative marking. So, if that student is asked what's the capital of India, and they're given the options that it's New York, it's Dubai, Tokyo, what should the student pick up? Well, the first thing is the psychological collapse. Like, yeah? Where is the capital in this answer set? Optional, the options, yeah. Where is the right answer? Well, this is what happens when we forget our relationship with God. We are thinking the answer could be Tokyo. We are thinking the answer could be London. We are thinking it could be Dubai. We are thinking so-and-so could be the answer because we just don't know. So a student who doesn't know the capital of India would blissfully pick up one answer. Right? But a student who knows what's the answer will think about it, will face that challenge. And then, of course, this is what happens. With the three modes of material nature, the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance, tamogun, rajogun, and satogun, we are making the decisions based on those modes. We are not able to look beyond that hazy, the fog that these modes create for us. Just like Arjun. This is why his Gandiv is slipping off his hands in the beginning. Right? But when we have the knowledge in the form of the scriptures, with the guidance of the spiritual master, with the association and mercy of the devotees, we know the right answer. That it's not this question paper. Right? It is my relationship with the Supreme. It is my relationship and my purpose of life, which is to serve. How can a part be complete when it is away from the whole composite thing? So if we are constantly saying we are part and parcel of Krishna, how are we expected to be happy without being in his remembrance? Right? And we are thinking, oh, we'll be happy in this, maybe not that. And how many times has it happened in your life that whatever you desired, you actually achieved that after 5 years or 10 years of your life, and while you're in that phase, when you have that thing with you, you're still not satisfied. Have you experienced anything like that? Yeah? So those kind of experiences tell us what's really meant for us. And this is why we need to drop the idea of being the doers. We are not the doers. We can't take the credit of everything. We are one of the doers. Right? As we traced in the example of that construction of a building, it takes so many people, resources, nature, and all of that. But yes, our desire, our free will that Krishna has given to us, which he also says to Arjun in the end of the Bhagavad Gita, that whatever you desire, you do. So that free will is precious to Krishna. He is going to sanction our desire anyway. He is going to give the resources, the material nature is going to be there to facilitate that desire. But in the end, it's really about what we do with that desire. Whether we use it, whether we use our senses for our own sense gratification or for the service of Krishna, that really is what makes the difference. That what really is shown to us with the examples of the pastimes of Lord Hanuman and all these exalted devotees. I think we'll stop here for some questions. Does anyone have any questions? No questions, really? That makes my job easier. You have a question? Yeah. You have a question. Sorry, can you repeat it? Who's Arjuna? Wow, this is, when a child asks me a question, I really get jittery, because those, you can expect some of the most difficult questions to come. Yeah, so Arjun is a friend and devotee of Krishna. Do you know about the Pandavas? Hari Hari. Haribol. Do you know about the Pandavas? Yeah? Who are Pandavas? Yeah.
There was this war
Yeah.
between, like, there was 100 soldiers, and then the Pandavas only had like 50 brothers, and then
Yeah.
they were like they were one side of the one side
Yeah.
they were fighting, and Krishna was on the good side. And I think
Absolutely. Yeah.
now I remember because Arjun was fighting, and Krishna told him what to do, and Krishna also showed him the book. I don't know what it is.
You're absolutely right. Thanks for reminding us who's Arjun. Yeah, well done. Thanks for reminding us. Yeah. Any more questions? Okay. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll now shortly have Gaura Arti at about 7 p.m. And then we can all participate in the ecstatic dancing and kirtan for the lordships. Hare Krishna. Manjari.
Vandeham Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Sri Rupam Chakrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sajivam Shadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanitanscha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Krishna, Krishna Krishna,